Hello, welcome to Flooring Models review time. Now this is the Mobus Models, what scale is it? This is the 1/25th scale Dark Knight Tumbler, or the Batmobile from the Dark Knight series. Absolutely love this thing. I must admit it's my favourite Batmobile of all time. It's just that the way it works, the way it is in real life as well. Basically do a YouTube search, okay? Spend 20 minutes of your life and have a look at this thing in real life, not just the film stuff, but actually the building of this. And there's some great footage that they've done and shot during the design process and everything else. There's a couple of little mini documentaries that are available to free to watch, and you'll see that this thing isn't CGI. This thing actually does do the jumps and everything else. So when a few of them came around as sort of pre-made things, I was thinking, oh, I'd always like to have one of them. You can have the big studio one as well, the 1/6 one, but to be honest, that's lots and lots of money. So anyway, being the 1/25th scale, and to be honest, being Christmas, my partner, very nice of her, went out and got me it. So here's your actual box. As you can see, it's the actual kit. You get a picture on here with a few little lights added for effect and everything else. As you can imagine, you've got the usual things all on the box, not much going on there, but the back, you get some of the details about it. So you've actually got the, it's 7 inches long when it's actually built. You've got PVC tyres, love them or hate them. And obviously it's a full representation. Now if you wanted to, you could also do the back bike with the Catwoman version and everything else. They tend to do all the series of these particular kits. So in the box we actually get into it. As you can see, it is crammed full of stuff. This isn't just like an empty box and it's all packaging. This actually is pretty much solid all the way through. So if we have a quick flick through our manual here. So you've got some usual things about actual model making and various things. I think it says levels age 15 and up, but looking at the instructions, they're very, very well laid out. So even if you're not, and you just want to do it, you can actually get on with it. As you can see, very, very detailed descriptions on the actual build of it itself. So not only are you getting pictures saying put parts whatever together, you're actually getting some little bit of talk through about it as well. So it's actually walking you through the entire build. So as you can see, pretty much detailed seats. Obviously you can add a little bit of scratch building to it to really liven it up. As I say, go on the net, there's so much reference material on these actual ones in there. So as you can see, going all the way through, you're building the interior, you're building the front suspensions, working on those massive wheels on the back. As I say, they are rubber tyres, and as I say, I know a lot of people love them or hate them, but personally I can't see a problem with them. They look really, really nice. Then we're actually going right the way through to building it, putting on these plates, because obviously you've got a central core to it, and then the outer plates actually go on, which I should imagine is just like the real thing. Okay, and then obviously fittings, everything else. So as you see, you can see all this thing about, you know, cementing various places in the aerofoil plates on these things. I think you can have them somewhat movable. You can have them sort of open or closed or whatever. This is what really caught my eye though. Fantastic, because it's nice to see the real thing. It's all very well having reference pictures, but if you can have reference pictures of the actual kit itself, it gives you a better idea of what level you are. So you might think that's pretty basic and now I can do a lot better than that. Go ahead, help yourself. Okay, but it just gives you a rough idea of what you're going to get. To me, I must admit, the paintwork looks a little bit rough on there. I'd hope mine comes out a little bit smoother. Okay, and the metal work looks a little bit, shall we say, hand painted. I think a little bit more care and attention, you could actually find a lot more on it. Then we got back here, we've got the actual about the real thing itself and about the tumbler and all things like that. Nice little picture on the back. And again, all the Dark Knight trilogy, because obviously it's all licensed. Now I haven't actually been through any of this, so this is all new to me. So first of all, you've got here, which is a very nice, and you've got the grips on it as well. This will be for the rear axle, and these tyres we were speaking about. So let's just see what they're like. They're quite, I don't know, chunky, shall we say. What I do notice immediately is you don't get a massive seam line in the middle, which perhaps you want to take care of. Rubber tyres, I'm probably going to build this kit quite soon. It was a present as well, so I've got to do it. I'll show you about scuffing up and giving a real nice look to your tyres by sanding them, basically, to give them a nice look, just to get rid of this sort of shininess and everything else, because obviously we don't want this particular vehicle to look like it's just come out of a showroom, because clearly it never did. Okay, so little things though. Normally you get a seam line running down the middle of the tread. We've got none of that whatsoever evident on these, which is a very nice touch. Okay, so we'll grab the bags as we get to them. As I said, this is absolutely chocker block. So we've got the sides just down here, if I just drop this top cam a little bit further down and perhaps the side one in a little bit more, you should get some more of the details. So you can see some of this detail work that they've really gone to pains to do. We've got the filler caps just down here and everything else. Very nicely moulded. It's for guys who build cars all the time, to you this is standard. To aircraft modelers, a little bit different. The way that the actual kit will go together is quite different to probably what you're used to if you've been doing sort of, you know, aircraft modeling and things like that. So you do be prepared, you'll get lots of rough looking areas, but normally they are not where it counts, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But as you can see, we've got a side door here. Should be another one, but you can see just looking through it, we've got very nice details. All of this etched surface and things like that going right the way through, which is really, really nice. And then we've got some more areas down here. Again, you've got some nice, you know, for instance, just down here, I don't know how well the camera actually picks it up, but it's not just a rivet, it's a rivet with the hole in the middle, which is quite a nice little touch in there. So it is extremely detailed for what it is. Okay, again, I presume this is probably the belly plate or something down the bottom. So we have got some detail, so you've got some little hydraulic lines and things coming down in here. But again, you know, you could go on and detail this one up yourself. Don't think that, you know, it's just a straightforward out of the box build. You can carry on. So looking just down here, we can see some of these aerofoil little speed brake and aerodynamic areas it has on this one to help it jump and everything else. So again, ejector pin marks, pretty much out of the way. I wouldn't worry about anything. For instance, this one here, you would see it from both sides. You've got no ejector pin marks on it at all. Some of the others perhaps you have because you're not going to see them. So again, this will be my first kit I've ever built from them, so you know, to me it's not, but I've seen a lot of their other sci-fi stuff and it always looks lovely. You got some seats. Okay, I've got numbers on the bottom. You might be able to see we've got 38, 39 just down here. Catch them in the light. There we go. Nice little touch so you know which is left and right. Again, some of these other details, okay, perhaps some of the bottles are a little bit crudely done and things like that, but generally we're okay. Perhaps this is a little bit soft. You can see it here moulded in there. You could sharpen it up, go around with your scribing techniques to do that. Okay, wheel hubs. Okay, again, a little bit flashy on the wheel hubs, but nothing you couldn't clean up. To be honest, it's a bit of a bad plug to try and get this out because it's quite a lot going on in there, so you can forgive a little bit of flash dust down in there, but that's no problem at all. It's all on the other side, so we don't worry about it. So we've got the front hubs, pretty nice. Okay, perhaps again, maybe a little bit soft, might want to sharpen them up just a little bit. Same with these hubs down the back wheels here, they're just a little bit softer than I'd like. I'd like them to be a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper. As I say, you can get your money's worth with this kit. It's going to cost you basically about £40 in the UK, okay, delivered. You can go online, obviously get them cheaper, but the main sort of price is around about 40 quid, and you certainly get your money's worth of plastic in here. So again, softly moulded, but pretty nice. We've got no flash really going on. Okay, these gates onto the sprues are a little bit big and a little bit heavy, but to the actual part itself, but pretty much okay, no problems with that. We've got some nice detailing coming on there. I think it's one of those kits where dry brushing would really bring this to life. Okay, probably the business end, you've got all the suspension for these aerofoil push-up panels, things like that. This is what all the activators for them are. Again, okay, you've got plenty of bits going on, and you have got little bits of flash just down in here, but to be honest, they are not on the item, and that is always the thing you're worried about, is them actually being on the item. And being that these are round, you don't have too many problems with the line up with the actual center seam on these. Yes, they have got it, but no, it's not a problem. Okay, I'm just deliberately leaving the glass to last. Okay. Next in, we have bits of flash coming out here. So we got, this will be that central, I think it's like the weapons turret system on here. Again, very nicely detailed, tiny little bit of flash on the inside. Again, marked numbers, number 20, which is quite a nice little touch. Okay, little things like the guns on the side down here, pretty crude. You might want to, nice little touch would be take those out and replace them with little barrels and make them up yourself, because as I say, it just lets it down a little bit. Tiny little areas, just a little bit crude. But there again, this isn't a studio scale model. It is, as I say, a 1/25th scale, so getting them into that scale a little bit harder, but you could really go to town and make this an absolute stunner. Again, the grills, Personally, I think you might want to replace those with photo etch parts. You could quite easily do that, or just take these out at the back and replace these grills with something a little bit more credible. Okay, but again, obviously this is major structural parts of it. We're okay, a little bit soft perhaps in these areas. I think it'll work though. Right, the big bits. Just going to pop that in before I lose it. Okay, so we've got the actual inside of the tub. So we've got the little TV screens just down here, quite a nice little touch on those. Okay, and the rear panel. The front windscreen, the front area, the windshields obviously go in the middle, but the screen area itself, again, nicely done. I don't think there's an option for this to have it open, so I don't think you have to worry too much. Side parts, obviously it's going to be one of the sides as well for the interior. Again, basic but practical. You know, you don't see it too much in the film itself, and I don't think you're going to see too much of it through the windows. We've got the floor pan actually going on here, some nice little details down at the bottom. Again, the other side of the floor pan area again, so that's all very nice. Okay, last up, this is the clear parts. Let's see how clear the clear parts really are. Okay, we've got a little bit of distortion. Front windscreens seem to be all okay. If you can see them down in there, they're pretty much no distortion running around parts. The front one clearly is very nice. This is that front weapons area sits through. That's nice and clear. I've got a feeling the actual, obviously the film one is tinted, so I don't know if you want to go along that route. You could smoke them, obviously, you know, some Tamiya smoke on there as a way of doing it, or your normal sort of dipping techniques to smoke, or you could do them black from the inside, flat black even, and then from the outside it'll give a gloss black look and give you that tinted, totally jet black look. But certainly when you see it in the film, you can't see him sat in it. So I don't know if you would want to sort of recreate that, or you go through with some clear parts. So there we go, £40 I think is a bargain. You get a lot of plastic in here. Obviously it's a licensed product, so poor old company has to get their little, you know, 10 pennies worth out of every kit that goes back to the Dark Knight people and everything else. Again, I think it's a fantastic kit. It's a great scale as well. It's not too big, it's not too small, okay, and you can add, and as I said before, there's a few little areas, let it down, but generally I think it'll make a fantastic kit.